Now let's take a look at the product. And give me an example here of one of the verses they mistranslated.
Yeah. Often Jehovah's Witnesses accuse the translators of Christendom of retranslating their Bible because of bias. In Colossians chapter 1, verse 15, starts, he is the image of the invisible
Talking
God.
about Jesus now.
Yep. He is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation, because by means of him, and then they insert the word other. So, and everywhere I say other here, it was inserted. And we know this because in this particular copy, it was put in brackets. So it says, because by means of him, all other things were created in the heavens and upon the earth, the things visible and the things invisible, no matter whether they are thrones or lordships or governments or authorities, all other things have been created through him and for him. Also, he is before all other things, and by means of him, all other things were made to exist. And they really want to reword this in such a way that it highlights their view that Jesus was a created being.
Yeah, because if
in
Jesus created all things, then he was the creator.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Now, let's pick up that thing on the Jehovah's Witnesses say, but it also shows that Jesus was the first created being. He was the firstborn. And what did you find out that actually meant?
Well, you have to look at what Paul did not say. He did not say Jesus is the first created. It says he is the firstborn. The Greek word is prototokos. Now, what does that mean in Scripture? In Psalm 89, we have David being called the firstborn of Jehovah, but he's the lastborn of Jesse. We have Israel in Exodus called the firstborn of Jehovah, but how can a nation be the firstborn? And so we need to look at what this actually means. And in Scripture, firstborn means to be the preeminent one, to be the heir of all things. And we notice of the context of Colossians 1:15, it says, he is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation. Why? Because he created all things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities. All things have been created through him, and not only that, but for him. And it says very clearly, he is before all things, and in him all things hold together. And this is the point that Paul's trying to bring home in verse 18. He says, so that, all this is so that he, Jesus, might come to be the first place in all things. He's talking about Christ's preeminence. And we know that Jesus is not a created being because in John 1:1, whether it's a God or God, it says, in the beginning, the Word was. It didn't say he came, he became, he was created, he was brought forth. It says he already was there.
And in the Old Testament, you have Esau and Jacob. Esau was born first, okay? But Jacob was said to be the firstborn. He was the one with prominence, first in rank. And what we're talking about with Jesus is not any kind of human birth. We're talking about he was the first in rank. He was the one who was the creator and was supposed to be given that status.